shit for what you're doing today. Keep learning as the planet keeps on turning, or it's gonna throw us off.
Yeah, this is Ben from Orange Goblin, and this is my interview with Heavy Mag.
Beautiful, Ben. Thanks for joining us today.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. It's an exciting time for us. Less than 2 weeks now to the release of a new album, and it's great to be doing press with people all over the world. And hopefully, it's gonna help album sales. It's gonna help elevate Orange Goblin once again.
Sure, easy for sure. And the new album is called Science, Not Fiction, and it's coming out on July the 19th. So, how are you feeling about it, mate? Like, you put it to bed now, you just wait for it to come out. Like, what's this period like? Do you go over what you could have done differently, or do you put it to bed and you've done the best you can?
No, this one's different in that obviously it's our first album for Peaceville Records, and the whole campaign has been far more sort of hands-on than we've ever had before. As you say, in the past we might have just delivered the record to the label and said, right, you get on with that. But with this record, the label have been really proactive and enthusiastic in getting us to do sort of, be involved in the marketing, do a lot of sort of adverts for the websites, the social media. I guess that's just sort of a sign of the times, really. But yeah, I mean, it's been a really strong campaign. There's been 3 singles released so far, all had videos for them. We've got another video and single coming next week, just prior to the actual release. We're doing some album launch shows here in London and Leeds in the UK. And we've got a summer of festivals lined up to go out and promote it. So, it's all go at the moment. Definitely not sitting back and just letting it happen. We're all very proactive.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about the album from a musical point of view, bro, and what you're going for with it.
Well, when we met up with Mike Exeter, who produced it, he said, "What sort of sound do you want?" And we said, "Well, Orange Goblin, you know what we sound like." And our 2 core influences have always been Black Sabbath and Motorhead. And we gave him a list of 4 albums that we wanted to try and sort of condense into this record, and they were Black Sabbath Volume 4, the first Motorhead album, Dopes to Infinity by Monster Magnet, and Do Re Mi by Hawkwind. And he said, "Yeah, I reckon we could do something with that." So, it was just it's normal process, the way we write. The 3 other guys kind of started contributing ideas, and as soon as we get enough riffs, we sort of get together in a studio, we start knocking them into some sort of shape. And when we've got ideas of songs, that's when I'll get an idea of what the vocal sort of theme should be, the lyrics should be about, and we take it from there. And this album came together really well. It was really well sort of thought out. And in the past, we may have been a little bit kind of spontaneous and just sort of done this for the sake of it. But this one, we didn't want to rush it, and I think we've been rewarded for that sort of approach by the final product. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah. And you mentioned the 3 singles you released. So they're called Cemetery Rats, The Fire at the Center of the Earth Is Mine, which is a great title, right? And the title track. So are they a good sonic representation of what to expect from the whole album?
I think so. First single, Not Rocket Science, was, straight up rocker in the kind of Motorhead meets AC/DC sort of vibe, which is, very typical of what we do in a live setting. Cemetery Rats, again, shows another side to Orange Goblin. It's got the slow, doomy, Sabbathy start, but it bursts to life in this kind of mix of old school thrash and even a bit of Discharge in there. And then Fire at the Center of the Earth Is Mine is one that's, it could be the first track on any Orange Goblin album. We always try and lead off with a bit of a foot stomper, and this is no different. So yeah, we think the 3 singles give a really good representation of the album as a whole. And as I say, there's another one to come next week, which follows up on those 3. So I think people will have a really good idea of what to expect. And there's a few other surprises throughout the course of the album as well.
Now, reading through the press release, mate, it says that the album ushers in a new era for Orange Goblin. Right? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, definitely, because obviously it's the first album we've done with Harry on bass. In 2020, Martin let us know that he was leaving the band, and between us, we'd always said that if one of the original members leaves, then we'll call it a day. But Martin insisted that he didn't want that to be the case. He could see that Joe, Kris, and myself were keen to keep the band going. And he suggested that Harry joined, and it was kind of no-brainer for us. Harry had been a long-time friend of the band. We gave him a call, said, "Do you want to join Orange Goblin?" He said yes. So we didn't have to go through that painstaking ordeal of auditioning bass players. And, you know, it came at a very good time for us, if there is such a thing for those kind of circumstances, because, you know, 2020, when Martin told us was due to be our 25th anniversary year, we were supposed to be doing a load of shows to celebrate that fact, but obviously COVID hit, the world shut down, and we were left twiddling our thumbs with nothing to do. So we put out a digital live album, Rough and Ready, Live and Loud, which kind of kept us going through COVID, helped us pay sort of the accountants and our storage fees at the rehearsal rooms and things like that. And it obviously meant that Harry had a bit of time on his hands to sit at home and learn the set, so that when the world did reopen in 21, we kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And he'd learned all the songs he needed to do. So yeah, it does feel like a sort of new era for the band. It's the first time, you know, first album for Peaceville. So we've got a new record label, a new bass player, and it's just a newfound enthusiasm from all of us. You know, I think after the Wolf Bites Back, we felt a bit let down by the promotion of that record, and we were getting a bit jaded by it. You know, we're no spring chickens anymore, and next year we celebrate 30 years, and now we're back to enjoying it as much now as we did when we first started.
Yeah. Now, the album title, Science Not Fiction, only scratches the surface of the content on the album, mate. Like, you also explore spirituality and religion. So can you talk us through that sort of concept of themes on there, I guess?
Well, what it is, it's kind of like, you know, there's three fundamental things in the world that kind of dictate the human condition, and there's science, there's spirituality, and there's religion. Now, spirituality falls somewhere in the middle of science and religion, and for me, science is something you can trust in, something you can believe in, because there's facts there. There's experiments have been done, proven, some in black and white on paper. We know, you know, since the discovery of fire, that science works, and it's led us to advances in technology and medicine and things. So you can put your faith in that. Whereas religion, for me, not so much. You know, I'm not a religious person myself. And it's all a little bit make believe. You know, there's no proof of it. So the whole album title concept comes from, I'd rather put my faith in science and not fiction, which to me is what religion is. That's, you know, I'm not anti-religion. If people want to do it and follow any sort of deity that gives them sort of morals and direction and discipline and makes them feel better and gets them through hard times, then you crack on. That's good. It can only be a good thing. But in my opinion, it's not for me. And from where I sit, it's the biggest cause of, you know, war and trouble and strife on the planet since the dawn of time. So, you know, I'd rather go with science, not religion.
Fair call. Now, you sort of touched on this before, mate, and like with your influences like Motorhead and Sabbath, like you guys have been around for a long time now. So when you're putting all those influences together to create an album, like how fine of a line is there between imitation and inspiration? And then where do you draw that line, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think in the early days, we always used to get accused of plagiarism and just saying we were sort of Cathedral clones or Sabbath clones, and that's fair enough. But over the course of time, I think we've kind of manifested our own identity by incorporating so many of our different influences, because there's not just that Sabbath and Motorhead in there. There's obviously elements of other things, and that comes from the fact that, you know, Kris grew up listening to sort of hardcore and punk rock. Joe grew up listening to the blues and 70s rock. Me and Harry were both sort of metal kids listening to Iron Maiden and Metallica and Slayer and Judas Priest and stuff like that. And when you combine them all, you create something quite unique. And the reason we started Orange Goblin in the first place, because we have these diverse sort of influences, but we wanted to create an album that's a mix of Black Sabbath and Pink Floyd and Lynyrd Skynyrd and and all the good stuff we enjoyed. Because as much as I like listening to a Black Sabbath album, I'm not going to find a little bit of Floyd in there. Or so, you know, it's a case of trying to put everything together, and nothing's really off limits. We never really wanted to be pigeonholed as a stoner rock band or just this or just that. So we've always tried to keep moving and keep things interesting. And we kind of have the mindset that if it's interesting for us, it's going to be interesting for the listener as well. Well, we hope so, you know, because I mean, it's a selfish thing to say, but first and foremost, we create music for ourselves. And if other people like it, then that's a bonus.
Yeah. Now, there's another interesting quote from you I read, mate, where you said, this is an honest album and we've always been an honest band. Like, I sort of read that and went over it, and then I went back and read it again. And it's a powerful statement, like, especially in the modern age of music, you know, like, you don't usually correlate music with honesty so much these days, unfortunately.
No, we come from a generation where we had to do things the hard way to get ourselves noticed. You know, there was no internet back then. There was no Bandcamp or SoundCloud or GarageBand, no social media to help us promote it. So we used to have to go into a recording studio, actually put songs to tape, put them out ourselves on cassettes, do some tape trading, go to shows and hand out flyers. And that's the way we built relationships with people that exist to this day. And that's held us in good stead because we did things the hard way. You know, we know what it's like to get in a van and have to drive up and down the UK in January when it's freezing cold and have to sleep in the van on top of the equipment and things like that. We never had things handed to us on a plate. And I think a lot of bands these days kind of have it a little bit too easy in that, you know, the social media, you've got a worldwide audience right there and you can put your music out there and it helps them grow without actually doing that hard work.
You're not doing the ground.
Yeah. And we did that. And, you know, because of that, you know, we're still very realistic people. We're down to earth. We're quite happy to have a drink in the bar with the fans before or after a show. There's no airs and graces. There's no egos. If anyone in this band had an ego, they'd get dug out and have the piss taken out of them. So, you know, we're very genuine, honest, and we're after 30 years, we're really grateful for what we've done. You know, I've traveled all over the world, and that wouldn't have been possible without Orange Goblin and what it's given us.
Very cool. All right, Ben, well, thanks very much for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Science Not Fiction is out July 19th, and as I said before we started chatting, mate, like, I was blown away. I've never heard much of your music before, and I put it on today, and tits on the floor. It was brilliant, mate. Really good album, so get amongst it.
Cheers, Kris. Thank you very much for the support.
Life is heavy, so we gotta pick it up. I said we gotta pick it up before it crumbles away. Nobody gives a shit about your problems, and they sure don't give a shit for what you're doing today.